Darnell in the house. Darnell 39, no kids, single, and not married. Darnell's living it up. We got Justin. Good to see you, Justin. Very few things worse than working most of your life to build. Talk about it, Justin. Excalibur in the house. Okay. Another one. 39, single, no kids. You mean, man, there are women out here looking for y'all. Y'all are hiding. You guys are hiding. These women are looking for you and you're hiding. I want to get married and have a family. They're really looking for you, Excalibur. Black Urban Goddess, man. Me and Black Urban Goddess have been talking all day long. Caught another one live, man. I'm glad you're on it. I'm glad you're on it. I know myself. Hopping back in. Oh, I got the steel curtain in the house. You know it's gonna be live. Listen, Love Supreme. Every little bit, I'm stepping up. I don't know if you saw the last disaster. I think I premiered this little countdown timer last show, and it went terribly. It went off the rails. The show, that is. But yeah, the countdown timer, and I made it myself. You know, they sell these things online. I think when I was looking at it was like $27 or something. I was like, you know what? I know how to use Final Cut Pro. I'll try to make this myself. And the music. Now I am with Epidemic Sound, and so I just got some music from them. But yeah, I just strung it all together. Guys, if you you guys have probably seen the clip that we're going to talk about today. You know, this guy just got an iPhone and now he's gone viral. You know, I don't know anything about YouTube, so if you've got a story to tell, you can really get on here and make a name for yourself and blow up. There are a few of you in the chats that I see. I'm like, man, you definitely need a YouTube channel. Some of y'all just got such huge personalities. But apart from the personalities, you know, some of you guys have some real stories to tell. And like this gentleman here. So that's the thing about social media. Anybody can get on it. It's okay to be happy, jamming out. Guy, what's up? Black Urban Goddess. Estás haciendo un gran trabajo. Where are you from? Where are you from talking all this Spanish? Oh, you said you were studying, right? Estabas estudiando. ¿Y hace cuánto tiempo que hablas español? O bueno, que estudias. And why are you studying? Do you live in California or Texas, or what are you going to use how are you going to use your Spanish? Black Urban Goddess. I think that's good. There are not a lot of Black Urban Goddesses that speak Spanish. I'll tell you that. When people find out that I speak Spanish, they're like, "What? Like, where are you from? The Dominican?" I was like, "No, man. I'm from Decatur. I'm from Atlanta." But yeah, Detroit. Are there a lot of Hispanics in Detroit? I know where I'm at. There are a ton of Hispanics in Atlanta, so we can definitely. Spanish is definitely a skill down here. Anybody else in the house speak Spanish? Want to give Urban Goddess want to talk to Urban Goddess in some Spanish? Give her a lesson. ¿Alguien más aquí que habla español? O solo yo? The Black Urban Goddess y yo nada más. Mira. Nada más. Con mi carrera en educación aprendí sola. Bueno, hay que. We got Leonardo in the house. Leonardo. All right, guys, let's get this thing started. Let's get it started. I got a good one for you guys. All right, I am the lead attorney, a practicing family law attorney down here in Atlanta, Georgia. 20 years in the game. And I know some of you guys have seen this clip. I've gotten requests to do a review on it. So let's take a look at it right now. It's short and sweet, but it's going to teach you a lot. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot about marriage and divorce, and really how you should be thinking about your money when you're married. Most people, especially men, they have no idea how money really works when you're married. Let's take a look at it.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
All right, that was enlightening and depressing at the same time. Now, let's take a step back. And what do we got? We got a guy here. And we're going to listen to the clip one more time, but I just want to set the scene because it's short, right? I don't want to listen to long clips, but it's short. And I really want you guys to understand what's going on because I see men like this gentleman all day long. All day long. And I promise you, he never thought that he would end up in this situation 17 years ago, 20 years ago. He never thought it. And the majority of men who get married in this country today will be in a similar situation. Now, what is the majority? I don't know. Even if it's 51%, that's still the majority, right? And it's not like men are out here filing the majority of these divorces. 70 to 80% of all divorces in this country now are initiated by the wives. So just because as a man you get married does not mean you're going to stay married, and you could definitely find yourself in this type of situation. So we have a gentleman here. He's been married, let's say 20 years. He has a whole Instagram channel, guys. Check him out. I'll put a link in the description below about what his name is. But he has tons of, no, not Instagram. I'm sorry. It's TikTok. Tons of TikTok explaining his situation. And I've watched a few of those. And it looks like he was married for about 20 years. His wife was caught cheating because his wife couldn't have any. She had a daughter who he adopted, by the way, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But they were trying to get a child between themselves, a biological child. But the wife was having problems becoming pregnant, let's say. So they were undergoing all of this treatment that cost, thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, turns out that the wife gets pregnant, but this gentleman finds out that the father was like a neighbor and was his friend at the same time. And so it got really bad. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Now, this gentleman does an excellent job at detailing the costs of his divorce. There are a few things that he left out, but the way he broke it down was excellent. He talks about the direct costs and the indirect costs. And he is 100% right on these direct and indirect costs. These are integral. These are fundamental costs of a divorce, guys, and women too. But especially the guys, because usually the guys are the breadwinners, and that's why it's extremely important for both sexes to see it, but particularly the men who are going to be the breadwinners and who are going to be facing this type of situation. Now, he says there are direct costs and indirect costs. Let's listen to him one more time.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to.
So $106,000. $106,000 in his 401k. And you see this, I see it every day. Every day. The retirement is the first place that gets hit. $106,000.
I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to.
20 years saving, and it's hard. Americans, it's not like we have the best savings rate, right? But all the money that you saved in your liquid accounts, in your stocks, your bonds, your savings accounts, emergency funds, what's in the checking account, all of these right down the middle, you lose half of it.
I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these.
This is a huge thing too. When you talk about the furniture, the electronics, the dishwasher, and the dryer, and all of this, because these things typically stay with the house. And so when the wife gets the house, and the wife almost always gets the house because she has the children. When she gets the house, you have to move out, but that means you have to rebuy all of these new things. And if you know anything, buying new appliances, new electronics, new furniture, it's extremely expensive. You go immediately into the hole.
And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
Yeah. Guys, this is a scary situation. This is a scary situation. It would be nice. It would be nice if we could say, oh, well, this guy, he's just a one-off. He definitely made some mistakes. His situation is not my situation. And there's going to be a tendency to do that. And that's true. Everybody's situation is different. The problem is, this guy is posting this TikTok in 2021. But I was seeing this same guy in 2001 and 2002. I've been seeing this guy for the past 2 decades. And so, there hasn't been TikTok all this time. There hasn't been all of this social media. And now these stories are just coming out. But usually to see this story, you had to be this man or you had to be me representing this man. These are the only two people that would see this story. And so now with this internet and with the social media, all of these stories are coming out about how bad it can be. Now, why is it this bad? What's one of the root problems? The root problem is a lack of understanding of what marriage really is. There's the real marriage, right? There's the real marriage, what a marriage really is. And then there's the idea that sits on top of the marriage. So there's the real marriage. This is what it really is. And you find out what it really is when you go into divorce court. You're like, marriage is a contract? Oh, marriage, what you find out what it really is. But then you have this idea. Now, the idea is kind of where you're at before you get married. It's where you're at during the engagement. It's where you're at during your wedding day with the napkins and the flowers and the venue. It's even kind of where you're at after the first year, the second year. But, after a few years, it starts to kind of wear away and you start to see kind of really what it is. And then, divorce attorneys will tell you that around year number 6, 7, and 8, you start really seeing that this is a contract. And now when all of this fantasy is gone and you're left with the real contract, you're like, okay, what are we going to do? And a lot of couples say, hey, man, this is what it is. This is what we agreed to. We're stronger than ever. We love each other and we're going to continue on, right? The honeymoon phase, that 6-month phase after the wedding, the year phase, the 2-year phase, that's gone. It used to be when y'all were dating, there were little butterflies. I promise you this. I don't care what anybody tells you, what any woman tells you, what any man tells you. No couple after 13 years rolls over and sees their husband there in the bed after 13 years and gets those butterflies, right? The butterflies have been gone. They've been gone, all right? You're left with the real. And a part of the real is this man's situation. And I want to talk about it because this whole channel is about giving you information. So as an attorney who's been dealing with this for almost 2 decades, what do I see? I see a lack of understanding about how money works in a marriage, right? How money works when you're single and how money works when you're married are 2 different things. And this gentleman feels like he's lost almost everything. Half of this, half of that. What does he say? He says now he has a negative net worth for the first time since he was 25 years old. So why is that? Why is that? And what I want to do is walk with you. I want us to walk together to look at a situation, not necessarily this man's situation, but to see how this could actually work. Now, you guys know that I'm kind of new at these streams, so we're gonna try something. Give me 1 second here. All right. Pull up my little whiteboard here. All right. So let's say this is your situation, guys. You are making $100,000 a year, right? So that's big money. You let the women on Kevin Samuels tell it. All the women calling in to Kevin Samuels, they're saying this is the man that they want. They want you because you're making $100,000, right? So let's say you're making $100,000 and the wife, let's say she's got a kid, she's pregnant, or let's say she has a newborn. Congratulations. You guys have been trying for a long time to get pregnant. Now she's pregnant. So now you're making $100,000. Maybe you're going to be up for a promotion in 6 months. She says, you know what? I'm not going back to work. And you're like, fine, you need to be watching this child. You weren't making anything but $30,000 anyway. And with your $30,000 and what it's going to cost in daycare, it's just better to have the mother watching the child. So you are making $100,000 a year, and your wife isn't working, and she's watching your kid, right? That's what you wanted. Like that's what men want a lot of times in these marriages. The vast majority of the time, these men just want a family. They just want a wife. They just want a kid or two. They want this fantasy, right? And $100,000, you click into Kevin Samuels. Supposedly, that's what they all say that they want. All right. So you're making $100,000. Now, what's the problem? The problem is the first problem. We're gonna talk about it. The first problem is that your $100,000 isn't $100,000. Your $100,000 after taxes is like $70,000, right? So now you're kind of knocked off right off the top, $70,000. But fine, you say $70,000. You're supporting your wife and your kid. You can still do it. Here's where you get caught up. Here's where this is the trap. This is the part that no one sees until divorce day. This is the big problem. What's the problem? The problem is you are working very hard for that $100,000, but it's not $100,000, it's 70. Fine. You're working hard for that $70,000, but it's not $70,000. Does anybody know how much you're really working a whole year for? Does anybody know in the chat? I promise you it is not $100,000 and it is not $70,000. I will not leave you guys in suspense. It is $35,000. When you go to work for that whole year, you are actually making $35,000. Now you say, well, why is that? Why is that? I saw my employment contract says $100,000, but you're telling me that it's 35. Why is it 35,000? Well, you're missing a point here. You're missing a point here, sir. Your 35, that $70,000 is not. It's split into two because you decided to enter into a partnership. That's what a marriage is. In fact, guys would just do better by never saying the word marriage again. Just delete the word marriage from your vocabulary, at least temporarily, and in place of that word, put partnership. I mean, hopefully you've got some type of business sense and you know what a partnership means. A partnership, if under just normal state laws, if you don't have a differing partnership agreement, it just means 50-50. Whatever the business, our marriage, whatever the business makes, we are going to split 50-50, right? So the husband's portion of his $100,000 is only $35,000. This is where the confusion comes in. Because when you hear him talk, and I don't want to play it again, but when you hear him talk, you see this word come up so many times. You know what the word is? The word is I. I worked for this, and I worked for that, and I earned this, and I earned that, and I paid for this. It's all wrong. Every single sentence. Let's just quickly, listen if you can hear this word I. Just listen.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these.
I paid for all of these.
And this is in addition to...
Do you hear all of this? It's I paid for these. I worked for this. I got this.
Actually supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I supported her and her daughter, which costs many hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, which he's exactly right, by the way. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's absolutely right.
I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25.
All right, let's stop it right there because this is what we're going to get into, guys. This is what we're going to get into. He says that, listen, he's like, I don't understand. I am making $100,000 a year, but now I'm suddenly broke. I am making $100,000 a year, but I've paid all these things, and now I'm stuck in a 2-bedroom apartment with no dishwasher. 2-bedroom apartment. Now, I've got a question for you guys. $100,000 can go a long way. What doesn't go a long way? If you're making $100,000, you can stay in a house easily, unless you're living in California or New York, maybe Florida. $100,000 a year, you're going to stay in a house. But he's not living in a house. He's living in a 2-bedroom apartment. Who stays in a 2-bedroom apartment, guys? What type of salary do you stay in? Do you make if you stay in a 2-bedroom apartment? You make this salary right here, $35,000. This is why he was confused. He never knew how much he made. For all of these years, he thought he made $100,000 when he never made $100,000. He was always poor. This man, from the day he got married, everything that he had was slashed in half. It was gone. It was there, but as a mirage. It was there, but as a fantasy, right? If you come to me and you say, man, lead attorney, my car is broke down. Let me borrow one of your cars. Let me borrow your car. I say, fine. You can borrow the car. Let's say I have 2 cars, and you're borrowing one of my car, and I don't need it because I got another car. So it's been 6 months later, and you're still driving my car. Well, maybe because it's 6 months and I haven't asked for my car back, maybe a fantasy has started to come in your head, right? Maybe you've been driving my car for 6 months. I haven't asked for it back. What's the fantasy? What's the delusion? The delusion is that it's your car, right? That's the delusion. And so in a year, when I say, hey, I need my car back, my other car is in the shop, you're going to be like, what car? I'm going to be like, what do you mean, what car? My car. And you're going to be like, oh, that's right. It was never my car. That's what this gentleman is just finding out. That his $100,000 that he makes, his salary, $100,000 was reduced immediately to $70K after taxes. That's wrong. After taxes. And then he had to split the $70K with his wife. So all this man had, all that he was earning year after year was $35,000. Now he lives in a 2-bedroom apartment, but guess what? That is exactly where men who make $35,000 a year live. They live in 2-bedroom apartments, right? He had this huge 401k. He had a $200,000 401k that got split in half, right? He had all of the furniture that he bought, all of the equity in the homes, his stocks, his bonds, his savings. It was all split. He never understood it. He understood it in in a concept way, but he never understood it in a factual, logical way. That the money that he had was diminished instantly by the marriage. So let's go. And guys, listen to this because I'm going to bring it home right now. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. Let's get this off the screen because this is a distraction. So you have $35,000. This is how much he makes over the course of the year. You take $35,000 and divide that by, let's divide that by 12. For 12 months, right? So 35,000 divided by 12, that is, let's say 3,000. Let's be generous and say $3,000 a month. All right? So he's making $3,000 a month for his family. He's supporting a wife and the newborn. All right? Now, with the $3,000, let's say he was living in a house, right? Because he said he had to split the equity. Let's say the house and the mortgage was $1,500. That's just the house. So now he only has $1,500 left. But now there's food, clothing, utilities, the payment on the F-150. Guys, this man has nothing. He has nothing left. Do you see? I promise you, if you looked at this man's credit cards, and listen, I've been doing divorces for a long time, and I've been able to peek under the Americans' financial covers, and I've seen what's under there. You want me to tell you what's under there? Tens of thousands of dollars of debt. That's what's under the covers of the American financial situation. You never need to look at it while you're living it. You just put more on the Visa, put more on the MasterCard, put more on the Home Depot. But, in a divorce, somebody needs to look under it. And when I look under it, so many Americans, the majority, are running at a deficit every month. What does that mean? It means that they're spending more than they earn every single month. And so they're just falling deeper and deeper and deeper into the hole. So this man, while he was married, he was able to go from $100,000 salary to zero. But this wasn't exposed. Why wasn't it exposed? Because the fantasy was still going on because they were married, right? So you still had the home equity, you still had the savings, you still had the stocks. Now, because a judge has ripped off the covers, now you have to see all of this mess, and he's left with nothing, right? And he's done. Now, what was he talking about? He was talking about these are the direct costs. Something that he didn't mention, by the way. He talked about the loss of the 401k. He talked about the loss of the equity in the home. He talked about the loss of all of the money that he spent on the wife and raising the daughter. He didn't even mention the attorney's fees, guys. He didn't even mention, what the lead attorney is gonna cost him. And if his wife wasn't working, he had to pay out of that $100,000 salary. He had to pay for his wife's attorney. And so, of course, he doesn't have anything left. These are the direct costs. Now, what are the indirect costs? And this is what, there are men who were here before their divorce, who after their divorce are not here anymore. They're not here. And it's because of these indirect costs. Let's listen to it one more time.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to.
Yes.
I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And let me just jump in right there, guys. If you financially support two people for 17 years, 17 years. I mean, and look, this gentleman, it looks like, I'm not sure if he's in a shop or if these are tools. These look like tools. Mechanics make a lot of money. This tool set right here, this whole thing might cost $70,000, right? Tool, if you can make a lot of money with some tools. I represented mechanics that the tools alone were 60, 70,000. But we have seen that $100,000 doesn't go a long way when you are supporting a child and her mother for almost 2 decades. You are supporting 3 people on one income. You were broke from the beginning. You were broke on the day of your marriage. Even though you make $100,000, you were broke when you said, I do. She didn't know it because you were making $100,000. You didn't know it because you were making $100,000. The instant you said, I do, you became broke. Why? Because you went from $100,000 supporting one person to $100,000 supporting 3 people. And the $100,000, as we've seen, was not even $100,000. It was $70,000 from the jump because of taxes. So how far do you think $70,000 supporting 3 people is supposed to go? Right? But fine. Those are the direct costs. Let's listen to the real costs.
I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. Let's just say everything.
Yep. Now, why is this man so devastated? When your faith in God, when you lose that, when you say that you lost everything, why is that? Why is that? Well, there are 2 reasons that I see, guys. 2 reasons. One is you still have this guy, this romantic guy, right? And I think in the manosphere, we would call him a blue pill guy. And he just cannot believe what this woman has done. He can't even fathom it, right? And so he's extremely hurt by that. That's one huge thing. But the second huge thing that you guys might not appreciate unless you've been through it, and certainly you women just cannot appreciate it, is the loss of his assets. Because men know from a very early age that if you want to have a woman, if you want to be viewed as a man, if you want to feel like a man, you need to have money, right? It's fine if you're 21 and you don't have any money, right? Fine. No, you can still feel like a man. It is very difficult for a 40-year-old man to feel like a real man if he is broke. It's very difficult for a 40-year-old man who is now cast back to an age when he was 25. He said that he hasn't been in this status, this financial status, since he was 25 years old. He doesn't see himself as a man. And so when you combine these 2 things, when you combine the fact that you had no idea that a woman could do these things to you, right? And that's this whole fantasy thing, thinking like a woman is something special, thinking that a woman is just not a person. People will screw you. I don't care what sex they are. But these blue pill men, they don't realize that. They're like, okay, yeah, there are people, right? Yeah, there are men, but then there's a woman, right? Yeah, I know there are people, and there are men, and there are kids, but there's this thing called a woman. And this woman is different. She's different. And it's just not true. I'll tell you exactly what a woman is. I'll tell you, are you listening? A woman is a person. Period. A woman is a person. A man is a person. Men will get screwed over by men all the time. We'll just chalk it up to, oh, this guy he just screwed me, and I guess that's my lesson to learn. But when a woman screws a man over, it's a total blindside. It is a total and complete blindside because you're like, how? She's a woman. Not understanding that women are just people too, guys. They're just people too. But when you have that realization, and it's a terrible realization, sometimes you don't want to learn it voluntarily. You are forced to learn it, that a woman is a person. And on top of that, now you have a negative net worth. Now the mirage that the marriage cast before your eyes, you thought you were making 100,000 when you really didn't know you were only making 35. Now that marriage is gone, that mirage is gone, and you realize, damn, I'm poor again. I'm poor at 45 years old. I'm overweight. Now because of this marriage fiasco, I'm drinking again. He said it cost him his job. You see that all the time. Men start drinking. Let me tell you something about men and women. Women get devastated over divorces, but at least women, the majority of women have a support system. Men don't. We don't talk, and it's partly our fault. It's probably the vast majority of our fault that we just don't support ourselves in these things. We don't want to talk about it. We'll just go down to the basement. We'll just go back to the Motel 6. We'll just go back to our studio apartment with the liquor bottle. And now we're waking up late in the morning, right? So now we're getting written up, and we wake up late again because now we're hungover, and now we're getting fired. And now the bills are piling up, and we weren't making anything but 35 to begin with. And you see how it just becomes a cycle. Now I'm drinking. Now I'm unemployed. Now no woman really wants me. And because no woman really wants me, now I'm even drinking even further. Now I can't find a job. Now, the women don't want me. It's like you just go down and down and down. I promise you this. And this is how you know that so much of it is with money. If this man won $50 million in the lottery tomorrow, by next week, he would be fine. By next week, he would be. I promise you, if this man won $50 million in the lottery tomorrow, by next week, he would be back in the gym. By next week, he would have lost 7 pounds. Because women want him now. Now he's like, okay, I got my masculinity back. Guys, if you don't have any money, but at least you've got your confidence, you've got the masculinity, and you know this man has skills. Let's say he's a mechanic. If he had his mojo, he could get back to where he was fast. The problem is because he has no woman and because he has no money, he has no mojo, right? But if he won the lottery would give him a sense of self-worth. Like, okay, now I have money. Now I'm a man. And then he would slide back into it. But a divorce, it takes so much of what you earned through your good years as a man. Women say, oh, I met this guy at 24 and I stayed with him till I was 31 and then he cheated on me. So he wasted all of my good years. Women have good years, but men have good years too. And they're usually not in their 20s. They're usually in their 30s, mid 30s to mid 40s. You take a man's good years in a marriage and you destroy all of his financial worth. He's like, I don't have any good years left to make this money. My back hurts. I can't stay up all night like I used to grind. It's terrible, guys. It's terrible. And so this is why you see this cycle where he says, I lost absolutely everything. Up to my belief in God. Because how could a God let this happen to me, right? I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this woman and her child and was spending tens of thousands of dollars more to create a new child, and she cheated on me with my neighbor, with my friend. This isn't, where's the God in this? Where's the God in this? He's looking at this. He said, I had $100,000. I was making $100,000 a year. And I didn't know that at the end, I was making $0 a year. The marriage covered it. I knew about this. I knew about the taxes, but I didn't realize that it was 35, that this 30, guys, let me explain something to you that men don't know. Men and women. I see this on the woman's side all the time. A woman will come in to hire and she's like, I got these kids and I don't want him to see my kids, or I don't want him to get half and half custody. And I tell her straight up, listen, number one, those aren't your kids. Those are y'all's kids. All right? Let's set that from the very beginning. But men come do the same damn thing. Men will come in and turn around talking about, I don't want her to get any of my 401k. I don't want her to get any of my retirement, any of my stocks. Right? You've been married. You've been married 20 years. Like all of your 401k is when you were married. What is this that you're talking about when you were married? Guys, again, don't think of it as a marriage. Think of it as a partnership. This is listen, let's just translate it just like this so everybody's clear. This is not a $100,000 salary, okay? Let's take the word salaried out. This is $100,000 in let's say net profit, okay? Your business over a year got $100,000 in net profit, but after the taxes, the profit was 70. Here's what you're not realizing. There's something in between the 70. You have a business partner. You have a business partner. How much does the business partner get? Anybody know? We all know. She gets 50%. 50% of what? Of the 70K. So now you only have 35K. Your business generated 100,000. Good job. But after taxes, it's 70. Okay. You got 70 from your work, but now you only get 35 because the other 35,000 goes to your business partner. Now, let me tell you something that's going to ruffle some feathers. This is why women are smarter than men. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. Women see this as a partnership. Listen to any episode of Kevin Samuels, and what do the women say? They say, "Oh, Kevin's like, well, what do you have to offer?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a good partner, right? I want to build." What do women? If a woman is making $100,000, if her business is making $100,000, what type of partner does she want? If the woman's business is making $100,000 a year, does she want a partner that is making zero? Does she want a partner that's making zero and who has a child that is also not contributing to the partnership financially? It's clear. Turn on Kevin Samuels' streams any night. These women say, I want somebody at my level at least. If you're going to come into my partnership, fine. You better come with something to the table because I don't want to support you. Guys, have you ever had a business? I hope you have never had a business with a partnership where you felt the other partner wasn't pulling their weight. Oh, it's a terrible feeling. A lot of attorneys say they will never get in a partnership again because they got in a partnership, they were splitting the fees, but they were working day and night. They were hustling. They were driving here and there. They were going to the satellite office, but their other partner who was getting half of the profits, he was leaving at 3 in the afternoon. He was coming at 10. Why does he need to come in at 9 if he's going to split half of your earnings? Why does he need to stay till 5? He can leave at 3 because he's going to get half of your profits anyway. This lady, you're making $100,000. Why should she work? You're working. You're making $100,000. She's got a kid that's not even yours, but you're taking care of the kid. What do you want from her? This is what men do to men all the time in partnerships. And men recognize it in partnerships. A man will say, hey, I saw you leave at 5 o'clock, but I was here till 7 o'clock. Why are we splitting things 50-50 when I'm here at 7 p.m. and you're leaving at 5? And then you say, oh, well, my wife wants me at home by 5:30. Hey, I got a wife too. She wants me at home by 5:30. But I tell her, forget that. I got this mortgage to pay. I'm here at 7:30 at night. I'm here at 8:30 at night. Where are you? See, we say that to each other. But to the women, we say, no, you don't need to work. I'm making $100,000, right? A woman will lose your job. Let's say your woman really loves you, so she gives you a month, right? Lose your job. She comes home from work and you're sitting on the couch playing Xbox. See what happens. See what happens if you see how long your wife stayed with you. Why? Because you are a lazy business partner. You're lazy. Listen, it can take a long time to get a job, fine. But if she comes home early, at three in the afternoon to surprise you, and you're sitting over there in your jogging pants playing Xbox, she's got some questions for you, and she's gonna ask them with an attitude, right? But it's the same attitude that you would ask your own business partner. Why are you leaving at 3 in the afternoon? Why are you leaving at 2 in the afternoon if we're splitting the revenue? This is why women are smarter than you guys, because you guys are looking at it as a marriage and she's looking at it as a partnership. And when you go to divorce court and they split everything 50-50, you're going to think, I thought this was forever. And the judge is going to say it's a 50-50 partnership. And you're going to be like, I don't believe in God anymore. That's what you're going to say, right? So the whole point of this channel is I'm trying to catch you before the judge catches you. Let me tell you this. Are you listening? Your wife is never going to tell you that it's not a marriage. If you feel like it's a marriage, you see on my thumbnails, I'm like this. Your wife is never going to tell you that it's not a marriage. She will never tell you that it's not a marriage. She will never tell you, no, this is not a marriage. This is a partnership. She'll be like, why don't we go on a date night? You never bring me flowers. Right? She doesn't ask to see the contract that you signed. She already knows you got the contract. She don't care about the contract. She don't care about the alibi. She don't care about the child support. You keep living the dream. She wants the date night and the flowers. You don't bring her chocolates anymore. Right? But you're going to find out that in divorce court, when she's in divorce court, she don't care nothing about that date night when she's divorcing you. She don't care nothing about them flowers that you gave her. You supported her child, not your child. You supported her biological child, okay? That you adopted, by the way. Huge mistake. But it worked out in your favor because she's 17, so you didn't really have to pay child support. But fine, whatever. I don't even want to get into that. There are some adoptions that are good, all right? The point is, if you adopt, you're going to pay child support, but that's your decision. You can be ruined thinking that you're going to get some type of credit for all of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you pay out of your business. And listen, guys, you're paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars and you were only making $100,000, which got reduced to $70,000, which got reduced to $35,000, which after expenses got reduced to zero. You see what I'm saying? You were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars from zero. Where did you get the zero? Where did you get the money to pay? Probably from your home equity. Right, man, let me tell you something. I look at domestic relations financial affidavits. If you get divorced, you have to fill out an affidavit about everything that you have, all of your assets and all of your debts. I've seen this for 20 years. Where is the vast amount of money that Americans hold? Where is it at? Where's the piggy bank? It's their damn house. It's not their job. It's their house. You can have $100,000, and after your expenses and the taxes, you're left with nothing. You do that cash out refinance, right? I mean, between your house, the equity in your house, and your 401k, that's all you got. So, to my men out there, if you want to think about your marriage, if you want to get married, fine. But I would just ask you just to spend a week when you're thinking about your marriage, and just substitute a word in. Substitute a word in, because women do it. They'll never tell you to do it, but they do it in their heads. They do it naturally. Like they might be looking at you like you're the stupid one because you don't do it. You're the one you want. Guys, it's a business partnership, okay? Do you want to take on a business partnership with a person that doesn't work? Let me tell you something, guys. If you're let's go back to this. Let's go back to this example, because it can work. You guys can get married. I'm not saying don't get married. Here's the problem. You were making $100,000, but your business partner was making zero. That's the problem, guys, right? Because like he was saying, he supported her and her child. This is the whole problem. I said parent, I meant to say partner. You chose the wrong partner. What if your business partner was also pulling her financial weight? What if she was also making $100,000? What does that look like now? That's $1 million, right? What is that? That looks a lot better, doesn't it? Because now you're making your 100,000. Now she's making her 100,000. That means the whole partnership now is making 200,000 a year. Let me tell you something. You could do a lot. You can do a lot in America if your business is making 200,000 a year, right? Because then what does that mean? That's going to mean that you're making, let's say 150 after taxes. 150 after taxes, you're doing it up. Right? Guys, I can't do this and talk to you guys at the same time. You know what I mean? All right? Your business is making 150 after taxes, you're doing it. So what's the problem? The problem is you're not choosing like women would choose it. Women are smart. Show me one woman, guys, and you can get on Kevin Samuels. You can get, and I got women in the chat. Tell me, what woman in the chat? If I want to listen, I live in Atlanta. Black women in Atlanta down here killing it. All right, I can go to Buckhead. Every third woman I see, 98,000 a year, 115 a year, 165 a year. I can snatch them out. I snatch a woman making 107 a year. I say, hey, woman, you got a man? She's going to either say one or two things. She's going to say yes or no. If she says yes, I say, how much is he making? Oh, he's making 165. Mm-hmm. Or if she says no, then she ain't got one. But you'll never hear this from a woman who has who's making 107 a year. I say, you got a man? She says, yeah. How much is he making? 35. You'll never see it. Why won't you see it? Because the woman who's making 107 a year knows that the man making 35,000 is a bad business partner. You guys, you can call it hypergamy or hypergamy, or you can call it whatever you want to call it. I call it a woman recognizing a bad business partner. I've been doing this for 20 years. You can blame these women if you want to. No one forced you to choose a bad business partner. You did it to yourself. And I don't want to talk about this gentleman because, he was deluded under this sense of what a marriage should be. But I did see something. I did see a video of his that I vehemently disagree with. And I won't put it up here, but the video that he was talking about, how he said that prenups don't work. He said they're trash and they never work. Why does he say that? Because the prenup would have saved him. Guys, I'm not sure how many business agreements you guys have read, or how many business agreements you guys have been, partnership agreements you guys have been involved in. But a partnership doesn't have to say 50-50. If you have no partnership agreement and you let the state decide, the state in most states is going to say 50-50. But you can, in a partnership agreement, you can say, listen, I have the 100,000. You have nothing, right? Maybe you can work here, from 9 to 12 every now and then. That's what you're going to contribute to the partnership. Fine. We're going to make our own partnership agreement. And our partnership agreement is going to say, if this business dissolves, I'm going to get 90% of the profits and you get 10. And your business partner say, why am I only going to get 10%? Why are you going to get 90% and I get 10? Well, I'm bringing all the capital. I'm bringing the 100,000. You aren't bringing any capital. And she says, well, what about my human capital? What about your human capital? You're not working. You're not working in support of the business. Not only am I generating the $100,000 in capital, but I'm using my human capital to generate it, right? Why would I choose you as a partner? I want to be fair. I want a partner that I can share 50-50 with. I want a partner that I can share 50-50 with. The issue is that I can't share it with you. I can choose another business partner who's also making $100,000. Lead attorney says black women in Atlanta making $100,000 every day. Like, why don't I just choose them as a business partner? What is it about you that makes me need to choose a slack business partner? Guys, I don't know what you want me to tell you. There are a lot of women out here who are slack. They got a nice this in the front. They got a nice this in the back. They are slack. Same goes for the men too, right? But I'm not talking about the men right now. I'm talking to my men right now. if you decide to forego all of the women making a little less than you, all of the women making your level, if you want to forego all of these women and choose the one lady at Foot Locker making $9 an hour, this is America. You have the freedom to do it. You have the freedom to do it. But then you're going to be on TikTok.
So how much did my divorce cost
like
me?
this
well,
guy.
This is a fantastic question.
You're
There's
going to be
direct
talking
and there's
about
indirect costs.
how you don't believe in the Lord.
Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings.
Anybody know? Because the wife didn't work for 17 years. And he got lucky. He got lucky. Did you know he didn't say the attorney's fees, right? But do you also notice what he didn't say? They've been married for 17 years and she hasn't worked a day. What also did he leave out? Anybody know? He left out alimony. He left out alimony. Why did he not have to pay alimony? Probably because she cheated. In a lot of states, if you cheat, that's a bar to alimony, right? And so in Atlanta, for example, in Georgia, if a woman cheats, you don't have to pay her alimony. He got lucky. This woman was also not smart. He wasn't smart, but she wasn't smart either. So maybe, right? What should the woman have done? The woman should have divorced him, got half of everything, and alimony for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, maybe all of her life, and then she gets pregnant. That's how you do it, right? She cost herself hundreds of thousands of dollars by getting caught cheating. So she's not the brightest apple in the barrel either, right? But guys, this is what I want you to. I wanted to make this video. I don't want to make it too long. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I need you guys to see something. And I know I got some women in the chat, and I'm gonna read what you guys are saying. And I hope I haven't offended any women, but this is the truth. Like, if the truth offends, it offends men or women. You guys cannot choose women who do not work with no risk. Can you have a successful marriage with a woman who doesn't work? Absolutely. Listen, man, if you're making $500,000 and she makes like 60, like, why is she working anyway, right? What if you're killing it like Derek Jackson and you're making $1.2 million a year? You're making $1.2 million a year. She's gonna be like, why am I making 50 grand? After taxes, it's only 35 anyway. She's got a point. Listen, if Oprah comes and marries the lead attorney, you think I'll be in court on Tuesday morning for what? Why am I working, Oprah? You think Oprah will marry? Well, Oprah ain't married me for two reasons. Number one, because I'm not on Oprah level. Number two, Gail. But that's another thing. But you know what I'm saying? Women are smart about business partners. Guys get confused. Guys choose male business partners properly, but choose female business partners incorrectly. What's the difference between a male business partner and a female business partner? Tits, right? Guys get diluted. So that's my point, guys. That's my review of this. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but to my men, please choose your business. I'm not saying wife. Choose your marital business partner correctly. That's all you got to do. This guy, listen to what I'm telling you.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well,
this guy, if he would have married a woman making 85 grand, this video would not exist. This TikTok video would not exist. If he would have married, well, okay, he got cheated on, right? So that hurts. But at least he wouldn't be back to where he was when he was 25. All of his good years have been decimated. He just told you. Look at, I don't know, let's say he's 45 years old. He's 45 years old with a negative net worth. How is he going to get it back? These tools behind him, he's going to be using these tools. He's going to have a wrench in his hand at 65 now, 70 now. He's got a wrench in his hand. He didn't want to have a wrench in his hand at 70. He chose a bad business partner, though. And as opposed to the, and in regard to the
Indirect
indirect,
costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right about that. And I've seen it. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I've seen it so many times. But again, I watched another one of his videos, and I want to tell you guys, I want you to check out his channel. He's got a lot of good stuff out there. He's got something out there that's terrible. He's got a video talking about how prenups do not work. Do not listen to this man. He's already shown that he did not have a good understanding of what marriage is. This is the worst person you want to listen to. Maybe a good person that you want to listen to is a person who's been drafting prenups, a person who has been using prenups in court for the last 2 decades. As between him and me, I know a little bit more about divorce than he does. Do not try to justify your errors by saying a prenup doesn't work. A prenup would have saved all of this. It would have saved it all. He could have said in that prenup, you know what he could have said? He could have said, if you divorce me, you have to pay me the $200,000 that I'm paid for you and your kid. And I want it in payments of $1,000 a month, so you better get a job. That's what he could have done. He could have made money on a prenup. You can make money on a prenup, right? But he didn't do it. And now he's making TikTok videos, which is, and I applaud him for this, and I wish more guys would do this. If he didn't make that TikTok video, I would not be talking to you guys about this TikTok video. And if I was not talking to you guys about this TikTok video, you guys would miss a lesson. This man, and I know I'm criticizing him a little bit because I want to call a spade a spade. We state facts over here. But this man is teaching you a lesson. He is doing what nobody did for him. Nobody told him when he was 20 years old about divorce. Nobody told him when he was 20 years old about child support, about adopting a child, about supporting a woman for 20 years and having her cheat on you, about supporting another man's kid for 20 years, 17 years. No one told him that, but he picked up his phone and he's telling you. So to me, as a man, that puts him at the top for me because he's teaching the young men below him, the young men coming up. He's teaching you a lesson. Right? So that's what we all need to be doing because listen, the women they're not going to tell it. I don't know who you expect to teach you these lessons. The women aren't going to be the ones. A woman is going to be like, where's my date night? Right? You don't bring me flowers like you used to. A woman's going to keep up the facade, right? Until she files the divorce. Then the facade comes off, right? But that's how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it? How do you guys feel about it? Let me go to the chats. We got Excalibur in the house. Excalibur got me coffeeed up, man. Thank you. I need it. This other man needs it too. Y'all go check out his his channel. He again, if he says anything about a prenup, do not listen. But he's teaching you, man. He's teaching you. W. Alfonso in the house. Yes, it's good to see you guys. I don't know how many of you guys here were for the last live stream I did. We got derailed, but we're back. We're doing it. Got Dexter in the house. Dexter from Jamaica. Every time I hear you Jamaicans talk, I'm like, man, I want to learn that. What's it called? Patois? How do you say it? It sounds like English for 2 seconds, and then it's a whole nother thing. I love it. Well, how do you guys think? What do you think? Deacon Dave in the house. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super sticker. I appreciate it. We got K Cross in the house. Alex Waters. Talking about banning people. Banning the chats. We got him bomb in the chat. Steel Curtain bomb in the chats. Oh man, Steel Curtain's been there. Steel Curtain has been there. What's he say? I lost over 100,000 in my divorce 5 years ago. I was an idiot about marriage and the way I approached it. Since then, I've rebuilt things, got a promotion, making 6 figures, and will never marry again. And listen, I'm glad I see this. And really, I wish I would have seen this 3 minutes ago because this is a good way to this is how I want to leave it. Guys, you got to realize, and it sounds like this man recently, not the steel curtain, the TikTok man, it sounds like he recently got divorced. And it's a recent process. And they call this, like red pill rage, because you go through this phase. And it's terrible. It's painful and it's terrible. It's traumatizing emotionally, financially. But this is what I also see. If you can make it through the phase, not get stuck in it, there are a few men who get stuck in it. All right. And you can't blame them. I mean, it's like if you go to war and you come back and, everybody in your regiment is fine, but you're traumatized. Like, can you blame the person that got stuck in that mindset? Because some of the things that they saw were horrific. Some of the things that they experienced, at least subjectively, were horrific. So you can't really blame someone who gets stuck in a traumatized state. Maybe they should get some help, but, sometimes you can get stuck. But most men do not get stuck. Most men, well, there's a key to not getting stuck, and the key is actually in here, right? He said he lost $100,000 in my divorce 5 years ago. Number one, that lets me know that this is a man who's capable of making $100,000, so that's good. He's got the capacity. But he says, since then, I have rebuilt things, gotten a promotion, making six figures. And this is what I said. I don't know if you guys remember, I said if this man could win the lottery, he would be right back. The steel curtain's right back. Right? He's rebuilt things, got a promotion, he's doing it. Now, he's not saying that he's never going to date again, but he says, I'm never going to get married. And, we can assume if he's made and lost $100,000 and now he's making it again, the steel curtain isn't a spring chicken. Guys, it seems like there are a lot of reasons to get married when you're 25 and 30, but as you get older, as you're in 40, 45, those reasons, they kind of start to diminish a little bit. Now it's not like a need type of thing. Now it's like, man, I'm gonna just sit here and wait. And I'm capable of waiting for the rest of my life if I don't see an opportunity that I like. Now I'm in the catbird seat. Now I'm the one picking and choosing, right? And if this man is single, he's making steel curtain out here making $100,000 a year plus, he's picking and choosing. And so this is where hopefully the TikTok man will be. So I'm so glad that the steel curtain put this, because again, it goes to us men talking about our experiences, right? But it also shows that you can get back. You can get back, guys. He says in here, listen, I was an idiot. And it's true. We do things the wrong way because no one told us. No one told us. So the steel curtain is telling you guys, you can make it out. You can absolutely make it out. Absolutely. RET. I am making sure that my son knows about the lead attorney. Yes. Yes, that's the whole point of the channel. I just want to be like the steel curtain and get this information out. I just want to be like the dude in the TikTok, get this information out. But I got a little twist on it. I got a perspective that not a lot of people have, right? I mean, your son can talk to his friends and, maybe that's a little help. Or your son can talk to his dad or his uncle. Maybe that helps a little bit. Or I'm not sure if you're a man or a woman. Talk to his mom. Your son talking to the mom really isn't going to help that much. But talking to a divorce attorney who's been in these trenches for 20 years helps tremendously. Or any attorney in your city, right? Anybody. But, with me, it's free, right? So I appreciate that. Yes, thank you, RET. K Business Podcast in the house. Great to see you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Y'all go check out this man's YouTube channel and his podcast. He's over here talking about great things, putting you guys on knowledge. This is what we were talking about before. We were talking about one thing, money. Money, and how marriage money is different than what you think it is. A guy who's married will come around, beating his chest, thinking that he's making $100,000 and he's making zero at the end, right? Zero at the end. And now he's devastated because of because the divorce has exposed. The divorce has exposed his financial position. So K Business Podcast is talking to you guys about finance, talking to you guys about money and business. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat, K Business Podcast. He's back again. Back again. What's he say? Steel curtain. Entering into a contract without knowing and understanding the true impacts can be detrimental. And that's putting it lightly. After marriage, it's all community. This is a man who knows. The steel curtain knows, guys. There are men who know. We don't tell the younger ones. And to be honest, to be fair, sometimes we do, and they don't want to listen. Sometimes you tell a 26-year-old, and they're like, oh, well, whatever. That's not our problem. What we as men need to do, especially the older ones, the ones in their 40s and the 50s, even the 60s, we need to get this stuff out there. Moms, listen, if you care about your son and your son's 17, 18, you care about your son and your son's 20, 21, about to graduate from college, this is information. I know that you can listen to me talk and, be like, ugh. Some of the things he says about women or some of the things he says about marriage is not, as nice maybe as you would like it. But what you can't say is that I'm not giving you information that your son is going to need. If you intend to have grandbabies, your son needs this information. You have attorneys in your city, right? Your son needs to talk to these people. Really need to talk to them. Taboo in the house, man. Taboo asked me a question or something, and I made a video on it. It's one of my favorite videos.
Thank you very much, brother.
I had your comment up the whole time. For a man to get married with the least damage, it is better to get married to a woman who has the same tax bracket as you. Not to. Guys, listen. If you're making $40,000 and she's making $40,000, you're not going to lose a penny. Right? Relatively speaking. If you're making 80, she's making 80. If you're making 100, she's making 100. If you're making 115, she's making 115. And you're lucky. Guys, do you know how hard it was to find a woman in 1982 making $150,000 a year? Good luck. Women were just like, just crushed down. Now women have exploded, doing way better than the men in the high school, way better than the men in college, way better than the men in post-grad. Again, go to Atlanta, all these women walking around in Buckhead making $117,000, $145,000. All these women with MBAs. It's like, Jesus, where did all you women come from? They're killing the game. You have options now. Before you didn't have options. If you were going to get married in 1978, listen, what did you want your woman to do? It wasn't fair. Now women are out here killing the game. It's nothing to find a woman making $85,000 a year. You can find a woman making $80,000 any day of the week. You can do it, right? You can do it. Oh, look who we got. Dr. Thunder, the Renaissance man in the house. Renaissance man, y'all go check him out. He's a Buckeye, right? You over here, Ohio State Buckeyes? A musician, but he's got a lot of different talents. He has a YouTube channel. Y'all go check him out. We're going to do an interview this month in like a week or two. I don't know what day it is, but it's coming up. It's coming up. So y'all go check that out. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. How important is marriage? Not as what men want. How important is marriage? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let me stop. Let me ask you this. Guys, this is to my men. Would you get married if two things? Let's assume you're young, not the steel curtain. Steel curtain's like, I forget that. But you're 26, 29, 31. A lot of you guys, I know you can't say it. A lot of guys don't. A lot of guys get beaten down. As soon as they say they want to get married, simp here, simp that, blue pill this, blue pill that. And a lot of our men are not able to really express themselves, right? So I see it in my consultations. They'll talk to me privately, but, there's no place for them. It's not like you can get on, blue pill YouTube and talk, right? A lot of men want to get married. But what if, you can get married and be assured 100%, two things. 100%, number one, that if you had children, it would be 50-50 physical custody. So your children will be with you half the time. So let's assume, so let's just say that, right? 50-50. And number two, that you would have a prenup that would guard all of your assets. It wouldn't take her assets, right? Let's be fair, but it would guard all of your assets. Would you get married? Would you get married if you could get 50-50 custody and a good prenup? And I think this is a question that a lot of women will want to know the answer to. Listen, if you're a woman and you're 34, and maybe you got a kid and you don't have a boyfriend and you're trying to have a family, this is an important question. You're going to want to find a man, but I'm telling you, men are getting hip to the game, women. And Kevin Samuels is letting you guys know from the other end, right? A lot of people don't agree with his approach, but I'm telling it to you from another perspective, but I'm telling you the same thing. Men are getting hip to the game. Men are getting hip to this BS right here. This is BS. Guys are like, this is ridiculous. Why do I need to do this? Why do I need?
So how much did my divorce cost me?
Guys are like, why do I need to put myself in this situation? This is what men are asking themselves, and women, there has to be a better answer than what's between my legs. If a man wants to know why should he risk this, there has to be a better answer. But if you can reduce the man's risk with a prenup, right? That's gonna open a whole new group of men. I'm telling you, women, there are millions of men in this group. There are millions of men who want to get married. I don't care what the red pill community says. I don't care what the manosphere says. I see it every day. Men want to get married, right? But it's risky nowadays. It's super risky. And YouTube is putting a lot of men on game. How do you guys feel about it? We got Fly Guy with the super chat. Got a question. How would you handle a marital home in the husband's brother's name or a stock account contributed to by the husband but in a sibling's name? Okay, well, this is a good question, and it all depends. Let's say that you buy a house and you're not married, and you put the house in your brother's name. All right, so the house is in your brother's name. So your brother owns the house. A year later, you get married, but you live in the house and you pay the mortgage and this and that. Then the wife divorces you 7 years later. Can the woman claim the house? No, the woman cannot claim the house. Why can't the woman claim a piece of that house? Because it's not marital property. Why isn't it marital property? Because neither the wife nor you own the house. The brother owns the house. And we see this a lot. You actually see this a lot in the immigrant community, where one person has papers, but another person doesn't, or brother doesn't, or a cousin doesn't. So you have one person in the family that has papers, and that one person owns, on paper, like 7 houses. But each of the 7 houses lives a family member who's actually paying the mortgage. And one of these family members gets divorced, and the wife is like, I get half of the house. And the husband is like, no, baby, because my cousin owns it. I don't own it. So you see this a lot. This is a good question. And a lot of women have a nasty surprise when they find out that the husband does not own the house, that the house is actually owned by somebody else. Now, what husbands sometimes try to do is they try to put the house in their brother's name, and then 2 weeks later, they file a divorce. And a judge is going to see right through that. And the judge is going to call that a fraudulent conveyance, and the judge is going to unwind that transaction, and the judge is going to give her half the interest in that house. The judge is going to find some way, even if the judge doesn't unwind the sale. If you've got other assets, the judge is going to take those other assets to compensate the wife for the interest, her portion of the house, because the judge is going to say, you tried to defraud her. You tried to take her interest, her equity interest out of that house. A judge is not going to let you do it. And it's certainly not going to work if you try to put the house in your husband's or in your brother's name after the marriage. That'll never work. So for your assets to be shielded in another person's name, that conveyance, that transfer would need to take place long before the actual wedding. So good question. Good question. Do we got any other questions? What do we got? Oh, alimony. Did I forget to mention the alimony? No, well, that goes with the prenup, right? What do we got? Another super chat. Thank you so much. Mydrin, man, you guys have these names. Mydrin Emery's. Okay. What'd she say? Or he say? I can't tell. Slight disagreement with you. A properly drafted prenup would have saved him. I've seen some crap ones poorly written. What did I say? Guys, sometimes I get here and I just start talking, but let me say what I meant to say. Let me say this very clearly. I don't know what I said, or I don't know what he thought I said, but this is what I meant to say, and this is what I always say, or at least try to always say. Prenups work. They work. This gentleman who made the TikTok, he said that prenups don't work. He said that prenups are trash. He said that don't get them. But I think one reason that he said that is because he didn't have one. And so now he needs a reason. He needs his error to be justified. He needs to be able to say to his friends, yeah, I got screwed over and there was nothing I could do about it. Because that way you get more sympathy, you get more support if you get screwed over and there was nothing that you could do. Right? But if there was something easy that you could have done, then why are you on TikTok complaining about your tragedy if you could have easily avoided it? What would have easily avoided it? A prenup, right? So it looks like we're in total agreement, Mydrin Emery's. I totally agree that a properly drafted prenup would have saved him. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen some crap ones written, poorly written. Absolutely. I'm not sure what I get on here and I'm talking, so I'll just say the error was on me. But I appreciate the super chat because it gave me a chance to clear up my error. Prenups work. In fact, what I said was go to this man's channel, this TikTok dude's channel, look at his videos. But I'm telling you, he has a video on there that says prenups do not work. That's BS. Do not listen to that video. Do not heed that video. That's wrong. Now, he's not an attorney. So, you're not going to vilify him for not knowing what the law is. But prenups do work. So thank you for the super chat, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to correct whatever I said. Thank you. I didn't mean to put that on. All right, Steel Curtain, man. Thank you so much. You're so generous. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really, really appreciate it, Steel Curtain. I really do. Steel Curtain, a mastery of contract law is paramount to its success along with how it is executed. Seek legal advice from a legal expert like the lead attorney. Yes. So I guess you're talking about the prenup too. I'm sorry, guys, if I misstated something. Prenups work. I did a whole video, a whole hour on Jennifer Molesky's channel just on prenups alone, telling you guys prenups worked. I've talked about prenups numerous times on this channel. Should you get a prenup? Should you not get a prenup? It's your choice, okay? But they work. I'm not going to tell you to get one. I'm not going to tell you to not get one. But I'm going to tell you this: they work. I don't ever want this to be a channel, guys, where you have some attorney telling you what to do. That's not the point. The point is this attorney is just telling you information. And with that information, you look at your own personal circumstances and decide how you're going to use it, right? If you listen to everything that I say on prenups and you are convinced that they work and you still decide not to get one, more power to you. Because I'll tell you one thing. As I talk so great about prenups, the vast majority of people don't have them, okay? And honestly, listen, guys, you'll see a couple, the wife makes $60,000 a year, the husband makes $65,000 a year, they've been married 7 years, they get divorced, no prenup. It doesn't matter. For a lot of divorces, the prenups, they don't matter. To be honest with you, no one's really, pounding the other person because they make about the same. Neither one makes very much. They got a couch, they got a couple of cars. You know, they got $7,000 in the bank, right? So I'm not going to tell you to get a prenup. I'm not going to tell you not to get a prenup because most people do not have prenups. But what I will tell you is they work. They work. And steel curtain is exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right. We got Gail in the house. Shout out to Gail. Are you a mod now, Gail? I think I just made you a mod today. I saw that you weren't one. I was like, oh, y'all had me thrown off. Manosphere, Mana. And let me ask you this, guys. You see what okay, listen. I'm new, all right, to the YouTube space. And sometimes people ask me if I'm part of the red pill community. And I don't know how to answer that because there's a lot about the red pill community I don't know. In fact, guys, I mean, my channel just got monetized in January. Like, I know I got 9,000 subscribers, but that's because of one dude. That's because of O'Shea Duke Jackson. And he knows way more about the manosphere, way more about the red pill community than I ever will. I mean, what do you guys think? You see where I'm coming from. Do you think I'm part of the... I definitely think I'm probably part of the manosphere, but in terms of the red pill community, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people in the red pill community, they don't have anything good to say about women. And I try to play it straight. You know, I try not to pander. Honestly, there are a few guys that I've seen, and I'll be honest with you, there are a few guys that I've seen that are just kind of the opposite of a Derrick Jackson, to be honest. They're like a Derrick Jackson for men, right? And it's so weird how, you know, all men, every single man in the United States could watch 3 videos of Derrick Jackson and know exactly what he is. We know exactly what he is. And we blame women for being delusional. Guys, are you still here? Oh, man. I do not know what happened. I guess my camera's gone. Oh man, guys, I'm so sorry. I gotta end the stream. I thought I had my battery. I thought my camera was connected to the AC. I didn't know it was on the battery thing. So, womp womp. Here's what I'll do. I'll try to connect back in like 10 minutes. Okay, y'all give me. If this is so embarrassing. This is the first time this has happened, but I don't even know if you can still hear my voice. But I'm gonna come back in 5 minutes. I thought my camera was connected to the AC, but apparently it was not. So I'm gonna end the stream, but I'll come back in like 5 minutes. Sorry about this. So sorry. All right.